Greenville City Council will come to call to order. Please call the roll.
White.
Present.
Brown.
Here.
Ely. Here. Godwin.
Here.
Norris.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here. I could get everyone to stand for the pledgeation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Evening, everyone. City Council members, you were emailed out the minutes. If there's no objections, they will stand approved as emailed out. You were also emailed out the current financial report. I will take a motion to accept or deny that. So moved. Moved by Mr. Godwin to accept the current financial report. Is that the motion? Yes. Call the roll.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes. Okay, approval of the agenda. We do have a need for an executive session, ORC 121.22, to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as amended. Call the roll.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to our public hearing section. Anyone would like to come up? Now's the time.
I just have two concerns this evening. I have several people now tuning in and watching this at home, and the last time you had a council meeting, they could not hear it, nor could they see it very well. They said it was all garbled and it wasn't real clear. When that happens again, what is the solution?
They just have to let me know, and then we can check our system and
Okay.
it's all running.
But are they to let you know that night, or
That
no?
night, there's not much I could do about it.
Okay.
It becomes an IT issue. I have to go
Okay.
to IT to get it all fixed, but,
Did anybody else complain? Yeah, I think I had three different people tell me that they tried to watch it and they couldn't, it wasn't very clear. So I said, well, I'll pass on your concern, and so I have. The other thing is, I see where the utilities is going to be meeting concerning water rates. And I ask that you really give it some consideration if you're going to raise our water rates. Because I don't know if you've been listening to the news, it was on Facebook and it's on the news. AES is asking for an increase of $22 a month, which comes to $270 extra a year that people may have to fork out. It has not been voted on yet. I doubt if they get the 22, they might get the 18, but they are asking for that. So, you know, we have a lot, this is a senior citizen town, and we have a lot of seniors on fixed incomes. So I know that I've been told in the past that you can raise water rates every 3 years. And I don't know what you're going to do, but when you guys meet on Friday, I think the paper said Friday, you were having a utility meeting, that you give that some consideration, because if you watch the news, you'll be noticing a lot of businesses are closing. Big Lots down in the Dayton area, the restaurant Fridays is thinking about filing for bankruptcy. And what it turns out to be, when you start raising rates like that, people have to cut back somewhere. My insurance went up after I filed a claim for my roof after the tornado. It went up $20. So I've got to come up with that extra $20 now somehow. So what I do is I just don't patronize too many things anymore. And that's what's going to happen. And so it's the domino effect. You cut into their income, and then they don't go and support the vendors or the businesses or whatever else that's in town. So when you all meet and you decide what the rates will be, please consider what this town is like. And it is a lot of senior citizen, and it is going to affect their income or where they spend their money. So especially with AES, when they ask for the $22 a month increase, that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt me, and so it'll hurt a lot of other people too. So Those are my two issues for this evening, and I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Curtis Locker, the superintendent of the water department. I wanted to come up here today just to clear up some confusion on some of the letters that are being sent out about the service line inventory that we completed. So as most of you know, at the end of the summer, we put out the service line inventory flyers for people to fill out and get back to us to help identify what your service line material is made of in the ground. This is an EPA mandated program that we were forced to do. The letters that we are sending out now are basically the results of what we have gotten back or what we have found in the ground. These letters are not meant to scare anybody. The verbiage that is in the letters is an EPA mandatory verbiage. It's not something that we can change, unfortunately. Just because you have a lead line doesn't mean that you have lead in your water, per se. Lead was banned as a piping material in 1986. So what has happened is, without getting too scientific, there's a layer that has built up on the inside of that pipe over time that protects you actually from the lead leaching into your water. So, and I know like some people are, people who, they have a baby or things like that, or the elderly population, they are concerned. So I'm just up here to let you know that your water is safe to drink. There is no issues with that. We will be, and nobody's being forced to take their service line out of the ground right now or anything like that. This is to help us do our side of the line later on. We have to start replacing these lines 10% over the next 10 years, starting 3 years from now. So basically 13 years, we have to start replacing 10% of these service lines in town. So, but like I said, not to cause a panic, nobody's coming out and saying you gotta do this right now, and your water is perfectly safe to drink. If anybody has any questions or concerns, feel free to call the water department, 937-548-2415. You can ask for me, you can ask for my assistant Scott. We'll be more than happy to help you out and answer any questions you have. So, thank you and good evening.
Curtis, is that, you said, starting in 3 years, 10% a year, so it'll be finished in 13?
Yeah, so basically in 2027, we have to start replacing 10%. We are trying to get ahead of the ball, and because obviously we drop that 10% if we start now. So we're trying to get ahead of the ball and do that. But yes, starting in 3 years, we have to start pulling them out, and that's a US EPA, Ohio EPA mandate.
Thank you.
So, yep. Anybody else? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else would like to come and speak to the podium? All right, moving on to administration reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Two things. First of all, this coming Monday, November 11th, Veterans Day at 11 o'clock, we're going to have our Veterans Day parade downtown. We're going to have a wreath laying and also a speaker during the program that'll be on the steps of the courthouse. It'll be Secretary of State Frank LaRose will be the speaker. He's a Bronze Star veteran himself and very active still, I believe, in the National Guard Reserve, still doing it. So he's going to be speaking there. I want to invite everyone to come down. They're also going to have a veterans luncheon afterwards at the American Legion Hall until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So
What time is the parade?
yeah, 11 o'clock
11 o'clock and that would be on the 11th, right?
on the 11th.
Yep.
And then second of all, I want to bring forth a proclamation we received from the mayor of Versailles, Shad Danmeyer. He wanted to,
Sorry, I forgot to do that, didn't I? We had a hard time hearing last time. The village of Versailles in late 2023 and early 2024 had extremely low groundwater levels, and due to that, below average rainfall. So the city of Greenville shipped them potable drinking water to the customers of the village of Versailles, and they wanted to acknowledge that and thank us very much for that service. So I wanted to mention that. With that, I pass.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks.
Mr. Safety Service Director, Mr. Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quite a few things for this evening. I just want to bring everyone up to speed where we stand right now. Maintenance paving, All the paving portion is complete. We do have some manholes to raise and a few items to fix up. And then they started doing some thermo painting on Monday, and then they'll be back Thursday to hopefully finish all that painting, and then that project will be complete. Phase 2 sidewalks were about 70% complete as of today. It's going really well. Mr. Myers is doing a fantastic job of managing it, and the complaints have went down. The contractor's been very receptive, and we've been working through that phase 2. We're starting to work on phase 3 as far as identifying the sidewalks that need replaced, and those letters will be going out here probably within the next 6 weeks or so for everyone that's going to be on phase 3 of those. Yellow Park restrooms complete. We have a few minor things to finish up, some door painting, a little landscaping, some things like that, but I did send a calendar invite to everyone. Hopefully you received it. A ribbon cutting is going to be November 15th at noon. We did decide that our kind of new plan is we are going to leave the restrooms open year-round, but we're just going to do the family portion of the restroom that has the adult changing station in it, just for cleaning and any problems we have. We think if we just keep it that small area, it's going to work out a lot better, and then we can open the other sides for if we have events, or probably in the summer months, when it's going to be a lot busier. But we will keep that open, that family one open. 265, I think the time locks are going to be like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We had a bid opening today for sanitary sewer grouting and sanitary sewer lining. We did get some good bids back, so at next council meeting, I'll have that legislation to award those 2 contracts. Water tower currently is still in the design phase. We hope to get that to authorization to send the bids first quarter of 2025, but we're just kind of in a holding pattern with the design as of right now. Solids handling, we're finishing up a few things on the bid documents, and then hopefully we can bid that here within the next 6 weeks or so as well. In Schweitzer Street project, the mailers have went out. This is what ODOT considers the public comment portion of the project, so we're just waiting to compile all that data, and then we'll move on to the next phase, which is phase 3 of that. I think phased out, it's about 6 phases of engineering and design before ODOT will actually let you take that to bid. And let's see, gas aggregation. I know that's, we've been getting a lot of questions here at the city building about that. So currently, our consultant is still working with CenterPoint. They're collecting these data points. They have 9 of the 11 data points they need, and they're trying to clean up these last 2 data points to get all the information, and then they'll be able to send that out for bids to get on the gas aggregation portion. So the best thing right now, if people would like to stay on the city's aggregation program, is to do nothing, and then you go into CenterPoint's variable rate.
SCO.
Yes, there you go. Thank you, sir. SCO. Right now, those rates have stayed pretty good. I think, let's see, October was 0.4066 per CCF, and November is 0.3810 per CCF. So weather has been our friend in keeping those rates down. So hopefully we can get that aggregation program for the gas side going. I would like to welcome Officer Joe Wolf, back to the city of Greenville. He left and took another position for about 7 months, but we just swore him in last week, so another officer at the police department, and we're glad to have him back. And with that, I will answer any questions, but I will pass.
A question or comment, but so the paving / sidewalk, I'm not quite sure. Well, I'll just share my experience. So there was 2 pieces of my sidewalk that needed done that were in my driveway. They milled the street and then forbid me from parking on the street, and then they cut a giant hole out of my driveway. So I then had to drive through my front yard multiple times and park sideways in my yard.
Okay.
And so during trick or treat, I ran into someone else on Royal Oak who experienced the same. And so just making sure that we pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So unfortunately, we had both contractors like scheduled to come in the same time, and we were kind of moving them around and trying, I don't want to say fighting them against each other, but like
Right.
for that reason, I didn't hear about yours. There were some other ones that we heard about that we ended up just plating their driveway. But if something like that happens, just call me and we'll work through it.
Anything else for Mr. Delk? All right, moving on to, thank you, Mr. Delk. Moving on to Mr. Reedman, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just a couple things. One of the topics that kind of consistently seems to come up to council is our solicitors that are out and about. If you recall, we passed a non-solicitation ordinance. I'm currently reviewing that again to add some teeth to it for repeat offenders, because while we have it and it states that they're not allowed to do it, they seem at this stage to just go away and then come back the next day. And so I am currently reviewing that, if everyone wants to know. The other thing is, we had a work session this evening regarding recreational marijuana dispensaries. The Planning and Zoning Commission met to discuss that. They made a vote, but after review, because it was a work session, they're going to have to ratify or do that vote again during their next meeting, just on the basis of how they advertise that meeting. So there's nothing for council to act on at this stage. It will go to their next meeting, which they're scheduled to meet in 2 weeks, to make a formal vote. And then lastly, we are at the end of our contract negotiations with all our unions. We have met with everyone. It's going well, but time consuming. So we'll have some more information about that soon. With that, I'll take any questions anybody has.
I just want to add, the Omni Fiber was making routine calls in my neighborhood, and I told them, you're really not allowed to do that. And the guy said, well, why not? And I said, City Council. And he goes, well, how do you know that? And I said, may I introduce myself? And with that, he boogied on down the road. So thank you for looking into that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Law Director. City Auditor, Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything today. We do have we do have 2 ordinances, which are both a supplemental or a transfer. So I will take any questions that anybody might have on either one of those. I tried to get as much information to you as I possibly could, but I will take any questions. And if there are none, I will pass.
All right,
There you go.
You good?
all right, thank you, Ms. Davis. Committee reports, we have none. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions, we have 2. The first is a supplemental ordinance.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. The supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the general sewage disposal, street, park, and Ohio opioid funds in the sum as follows. Department head salaries, data processing in the amount of $2,045. These funds are needed for payroll to the end of 2024. Office supplies admin in the amount of $10,000. These funds are needed for the insurance premium. Equipment maintenance fire in the amount of $10,000. These funds are needed for unexpected repairs for engine 143. New equipment municipal building in the amount of $5,132. This supplemental is needed due to a donation from the mural committee to install a small parklet in front of the mural. Downtown Christmas lights in the amount of $3,650. This supplemental is needed due to the funds that were donated for downtown Christmas lights. Salary safety service director in the amount of $630. These funds are needed for payroll to the end of 2024. Refund street in the amount of $715. This supplemental is needed for funds received by the city that should have gone to the property owner. Equipment maintenance park in the amount of $28,980. These funds are needed to repair shelter number 4 due to the tornado. New equipment park in the amount of $9,370. This supplemental is needed for funds received from Whirlpool and Greenville Volleyball as a donation for new park benches. And community outreach in the amount of $5,000. These funds are needed to purchase coats for the Community Outreach Kids Program.
Move to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024.
Motion to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Godwin to adopt this ordinance. Discussion.
Mr. President, Ms. Kim,
Yes.
the donation monies for the mural and the lights, is this like a matching fund deal or something?
Yes, so the money was donated and we received the money in, and then we have to appropriate the money for the line number so that they can purchase and spend that
It's the
money.
same money, it's not a matching donation or anything?
Correct, it's just one thing.
It's just a transactional?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Call the roll.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 2, a transfer ordinance.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. This transfer ordinance allows for transfers in the general and street funds in the sum as follows. $5,000 from gas, oil, and vehicle maintenance, police to office supplies. This transfer is needed for the increase in liability insurance. $1,200 from travel and education, planning and zoning to office supplies. This transfer is needed for the increase in liability insurance. $3,000 from street maintenance, equipment rental, street to office supplies. This transfer is needed for the increase in insurance premium.
Move to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only?
Moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Brown to adopt this ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
All right, that completes our ordinances and resolutions. Moving on, we have nothing under old business. Do we have anything under new business? It's gonna be a quick night. Council representing outside committee, we have the CIC, which is
I was not here.
that Mr. Brown
And Mr. Norris.
or Mr. Norris?
Yeah, and I have,
CIC?
I don't know that either of us were there.
yeah, when I was made to the meeting.
Okay.
Gone for 3 weeks.
All right. If you, maybe the next meeting, if you could get an update for
Our
them.
next meeting's on November 26th
Okay.
at 11 o'clock.
Right before
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you. Communications? We have none? Call council.
White.
Nothing.
Brown.
Pass.
Ely.
Pass.
Godwin.
I hope everybody went out and voted today, and with that, I'll pass.
Norris.
Thanks for everybody who came, especially the department heads. Appreciate you being here. And with that, I will pass.
Rogers.
Pass.
Schmidt.
Pass.
President Baumgartner.
Yep, so a couple things. Yeah, again, I think someone mentioned voting, so make sure you go out and vote. And then just a thanks to Mr. Brown that spent a couple weeks outside of Greenville helping out our folks in North Carolina and Tennessee in that area. So kudos to you. Thank you for being away from the family and everything. And then with that, I will entertain a motion to rise to executive session, ORC 121-20-22, for the consider appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Brown to rise to executives. On the roll.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.